My father had one rule. We were forbidden from acknowledging my mother. Wow. Talk about an opening line that just stops you in your tracks. It's the kind of hook that pulls you right into a story about some really dark family secrets, and a silence that's so deep it's basically a monster in itself. So let's peel back the layers on this one. Welcome to our deep dive into the mimic in the house. We're going to break down this story that honestly starts out feeling like this strange, kind of sad family drama, and then just spirals into pure, terrifying horror. We're going to follow the breadcrumbs, piece this whole mystery together, and uncover the truth that's been hiding in plain sight the entire time. All right, so the whole thing kicks off with what the story calls the unbreakable rule. We're thrown into this family that's basically held prisoner by this one really bizarre idea. It's a rule that's never actually spoken out loud, but man, it is enforced every single day with this absolute suffocating pressure. I mean, just try to picture this. Every single day, a mother gets up, she makes breakfast for her family, and she puts out 3 plates. But that third plate, it always goes cold. She'll ask her son about his day, and all she gets back is the sound of a newspaper rustling or cereal crunching. She's right there, a physical person in the room, but to her husband and son, she might as well be a ghost. It's this exhausting, soul-crushing performance they all have to put on day in and day out. Now, if you're the son, what are you supposed to think? To him, this isn't just some weird family dynamic. No, this is pure tyranny. He sees his dad's behavior as a cold, calculated act of emotional violence, repeated every single day. In his mind, his father is a monster who has literally erased his own wife from their lives. And the worst part is, he's forced his own son to be an accomplice. Well, after years of this suffocating silence, this guilt, this confusion, something's got to give, right? And it does. We're at the breaking point. This is the moment the rule is finally definitively shattered, and the son decides he's done. He's not going to be a part of his father's cruel game anymore. Can you just feel the weight of that one little word? Mom? After a whole lifetime of being forced to stay silent, saying it out loud is a huge act of rebellion. It's an act of love. It's him standing up to the man he sees as a tyrant. It's like a crack forming in a dam, and you just know a flood is about to come through. But here's where things get weird. That beautiful moment of connection is immediately followed by these little details that are just off. They're the first real warning signs that something is seriously wrong here. When he touches her, her skin is shockingly cold, like marble. And her first words to him, you can see me. As if his ability to see her is some kind of superpower. And then there's the look in her eyes. It's not just happiness or relief. The story describes it as triumph. Remember that word. It's important. So these secret conversations start happening. The bond between mother and son gets stronger, and of course, the son's hatred for his father just grows and grows. And then, bam, the story takes this incredibly sharp turn. We go from tense family drama to a full-blown, frantic mystery. He wakes up one morning and the house is just silent. Too silent. Both of his parents are gone. The father's car is missing, and of course, his mind immediately goes to the worst-case scenario. His dad found out about their secret talks and did something awful. Pure panic sets in, and he starts tearing the house apart, desperate for any kind of answer. He ends up in his father's closet, and tucked away in the back, he finds it, the only clue. A small wooden chest filled with old journals. And what he's about to read is going to completely detonate the reality he thought he was living in. This right here, this is the pivot point for the entire story. And here it is, the first bombshell, an entry from more than 15 years ago, a year since the accident. His father is writing about his wife's death in a storm. The woman the son was just talking to, the one he has seen every day for as long as he can remember, she's been dead for almost his entire life. As he keeps reading, the truth gets even more horrifying. The journals lay it all out. Years ago, the father started seeing what his little boy was seeing. A shape that looked just like his wife, but it wasn't her. He describes its eyes as black pits, empty and ancient and wrong. He realizes his wife is gone. And this thing is a parasite wearing her face. So what is this thing? Well, in the world of paranormal lore, it's called a mimic. Think of it like a predator, but instead of being drawn to blood, it's drawn to the intense energy of grief. It puts on the face of someone you've lost to get what it wants. And what it wants is attention, acknowledgement. That's its food. That's what gives it power. It doesn't just copy a person. It turns your love into a weapon against you. So with this new, terrifying piece of the puzzle, suddenly every single memory the son has, every single action his father ever took, it all gets completely reframed. We're finally starting to understand the father's terrible, heartbreaking, but ultimately protective logic. This timeline just lays out the whole tragedy perfectly. The father wasn't a monster. He was a soldier in a secret war. A year after his wife dies, his little 5-year-old boy starts talking to Mama, but the father sees what the son can't, those awful black pit eyes. He figures out it's a mimic, feeding on their pain, and he makes this impossible choice. He creates the rule, this vow of silence designed to starve the creature, even if it means his own child will grow up hating his guts. You see? That suffocating silence, the ignored questions, all those sharp, angry glances, it was never about punishing a living woman. It was a shield. It was a desperate 15-year-long battle to protect his son by cutting off the mimic's life support. He chose to look like a villain in order to be a hero. And this is his last heartbreaking entry. By breaking the rule, the son fed the mimic. He gave it strength, anchored it more firmly to their world. So the father realizes there's only one move left, a last resort ritual, a trade, an anchor for an anchor. He's going to trade his own life to bind the creature and finally set his son free. His disappearance wasn't him running away, it was a sacrifice. So the son finally understands everything. His dad wasn't a monster, he was a hero who just gave his life for him. But this incredible, world-shattering realization comes at the absolute worst possible moment, because he is not alone in that house. And the thing that's still there with him is stronger than it has ever been. He hears footsteps coming up the stairs, but they're different now. They're not the light, almost not there steps he was used to. No, these are heavy, deliberate, solid. The son's attention, his love, his acknowledgement, has literally given this thing mass. He fed the monster, and now it's coming to collect. And then he hears its voice from the other side of the locked door. It sounds like his mother, but it's wrong. It's sickly sweet, just dripping with fake affection. It's trying to lure him out with these comforting lies, twisting his memories, promising him that everything's okay now that his mean old dad is gone. But in trying to sound like the perfect mom, the mimic makes a huge mistake, a fatal error. It says it'll make him pancakes, just like I used to. And in that one moment, the son's blood runs cold. Why? Because his real mother, she never, ever made him pancakes. That one tiny, wrong detail confirms everything. It's not her. The sweet and caring act doesn't work, so the creature's true nature starts to bleed through. The doorknob starts to physically jiggle. Then it rattles, hard. The charade is over. And then a new sound starts. A slow, rhythmic scratching on the door. Patient, possessive. The sound of something that isn't human, and it wants in. He does the only thing a person could do. Terrified, he calls 911, whispering into the phone that there's an intruder, that he's trapped in his parents' room. He knows how absolutely insane it must sound, but what other choice does he have? He hangs up fast, trying to stay quiet. The second the call ends, the scratching stops. The house goes completely silent. It knows. It knows he called for help. And now it's just waiting. Which brings us to our final, absolutely chilling question. The police are on their way. But what are they going to find when they finally break down that door? Will it be a terrified young man clutching his father's journals? Or will they find an empty room